In this video, we're going to upgrade the performance of this F08 Bell 206 helicopter by replacing the flight control board with an F07V board. This is the 3D board that was just released. We're going to change it out and see how much better this performance is going to be. I'm also going to add the casing for it because I think it's got all the nice it identifies what goes where. Very nice. So hopefully it should be a nice modification. We will start by taking the front canopy off. There are all these screws. There are 4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to remove these screws. The canopy will come off. And maybe we don't have to do much more than that. We'll see. These are just tiny self-tapping screws. Don't lose them. And this black on black, it's hard to find these screws. But if you look close enough, you'll find them. This is the original livery from YuXiang. The F08 livery, the first one that came out. So this should just now come off. There you go. Yep, just comes right off. And the only thing holding on to it is the LED light. We'll take that out. So, great. So maybe we don't have to do much more than just take off this. And if that's the case, you have access to everything, and that would be fantastic because we don't have to open the whole fuselage. Next, I'm going to mark these 1, 2, and 3 and make sure I understand where each one is going to go. So I went ahead and took out the wires. Each of these connect points I marked. This is the status indicator, this light back here. This is and it went in here. And this is the tail light, the red light. It went in here, in the middle part. And this is the optical flow connector, which will come off. You can hide it out or you can take it out. I'm just going to leave it here. It's not going to be used anymore. Then I have the servos 1, 2, and 3. Channel 1, channel 2, and channel 3. And they go. And one thing that I used in the manual, there's a nice diagram of where everything is. This is in the original F08 manual. Okay, so you have this information. You could refer to it if you have the manual. So next, we're going to remove these screws and take out the board. Okay, taking this apart, open the screws, 4 screws, and this is your gyro. off here. The ESC is in the bottom. That's the ESC. And this that came off is the actual gyro. F07 gyro. See, it's the same as F07. So F08 and F07 use the same gyro board. So now we're going to put in the F07V, which is the 3D version gyro board. I'm going to use this different box, which has the indications of what's what. I'll put that there. And here's the gyro itself. There's the board. It's going to fit exactly on this thing here. So I'm going to take this, pry this off. Let me see, maybe the bottom section is the same. I want to minimize the work. If they're the same, no need to replace. And it looks like they are the same. Yes, they're the same. So that's great. So I'll just leave this here. No need to disconnect anything. And we will put this back on, very carefully, because you want to make sure the pins go in the right spots. And if you need to get a magnifying glass, do so, because I need it. And just make sure it goes in the right spots, right holes in the ESC before you press it hard. See here, there's a little, sometimes these pins are bent, and you got to make sure that the bends, they're in the right, they're going in the right slots. Okay, and I see the bind plug here. All right, so let's put the new, see this one? This is the old one. This is the old one, this is the new one. So we're gonna put this on now. And I'm gonna reuse the same screws as before. The screws are here. Okay. Crisscross. Make it tight, not too tight initially, but So you can just continue on this side. I'm going to use the same curves as the F07V because that's also a two-bladed helicopter, and that should be good as a starting point. So you're going to make sure this is nice and flat. So make sure that these are all going through this gap and is sitting nice and flat, and tighten it down. Crisscross. Okay. All right, now I numbered these on purpose. So you have number 3 here is going to channel 3. Number 2 goes to channel 2. Number 2. This one's number 2. Okay, and number 1 goes to channel 1. Okay, oops. Make sure it goes in and stays in. Okay, and we have the signal wire, which is going to go here on this side for this one. It's going to go on this side. It's your indication of whether you're in manual mode or in 6G mode or manual mode. That goes right here. Okay, and we have this tail light, which is red. I'm going to just put it in the red section, red light box here for now. Not that it matters. They're all LED ports. It may not matter. In the future, I want to have nav lights for this. So let's see if that works. Okay, and we will not connect the optical flow sensor, which is this here. We'll just leave it hanging for now. Okay, so that's the change out. Next, we're going to have to make sure that we bind this to the transmitter and make sure the swash plate is level. And I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, so this phase, we want to bind the receiver now with our transmitter here, which is a YuXiang transmitter. I mean, it says YuXiang, but they're the same company. But in this step, I'm going to be cautious, and we need to take off the blades, at least the main blades. Never want to mess with that. You gotta be careful. Take the main blades off. This is exciting times. These are fun things to do, in my opinion. And okay, so then we put the battery in for this. It still fits in because the frame is here, okay? So turn on the transmitter, okay? I've already gone to the model. I made sure it's a helicopter, and I put it at 90-degree swash plate. It has to be at 90 degrees swash plate or normal. So let's go to the pitch curves. I don't touch any of the reverse. Leave it as stock, because I think they have a convention, they keep it the same between the models. So let's go to throttle curve. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what's recommended in the F07 manual as a starter. F07V, that is. So throttle curve normal is 0, 65, 65 all the way through. And for 3D idle up, it's all 70%. We're going to go with this for now, okay, for throttle curve. So 0 is the first one. Okay, wait, go back. Throttle curve, okay. Hold on a second. Okay, on the first one, 0. Second one, we wanted 65. It was at 80. Go to 65. Third one, 65. All 65. Okay, then we flip to idle up and 70. All of them would be 70. Oops, that's too much. 70. 70. 70. Make sure they're all 70. Okay, so this is your throttle curve. Except, move down to pitch curve. So the pitch curve, normal, they're saying 40, 45, 50, 65, 80. And for idle up or 3D, 20, 35, 50, 65, 80. What's key here is you see that 50 and 50 in mid-stick, and 65 and 80. They're the same above mid-stick. Below mid-stick, they're different because you have more negative pitch on the blades in idle up. So you get a lot more down. It's important to have these about the same. Otherwise, if you switch from normal to idle up, it's going to jump up or go down. If it's lower, it's going to drop. If these pitch curves, item numbers are higher, it's going to pitch up, and it'll be uncontrollable. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. First one is 40 on normal. Oh, I'm sorry. And make sure this button really makes a difference. You have to make sure you're on normal mode when you're doing this. So normal on this first item on pitch curve for normal is 40. We're at 30 now, so we're going to go to 40. Second is 45. Third is 50. It's 50. Fourth is 65. And last one is 80. Now, these pitch curve numbers are based on actual pitch angles that they have measured. So there is a basis to it, and if you want to measure, be my guest. I'm thinking in normal mode at 40, lower stick, it's going to be about -3 to -4, and mid stick probably at +4 or +5, and all the way up stick all the way up is going to be probably plus 11 or plus 12. I will take a look sometime, but I don't have a pitch gauge that's small for these helicopters. There's a way to make it and measure it, but I'm just going to go by feel for now. Okay, so these are the pitch curves. Let's go and look at the expo. It's 0. 1 is aileron, 2 is elevator, and 4 is rudder. They're all 0, which is fine. Let's go to dual rates, 100%. 100% for aileron, both ways. This way is 1, this way is positive 100, right? Negative 100, positive 100. Elevator, positive 100, negative 100 this way, positive 100 this way. And then for rudder, 100 and negative 100. So leave it all at 100 for now. We'll see how that goes. Accept that. And let's see what the gyro is. The gyro rate at 6G is 75, and at 3D is at 25. Leave it at that. Okay, so that's the setup here. Next, we want to bind this helicopter with the transmitter. Okay, so we're going to turn it on and press the bind button. And we got to keep it very close, because before I've had issues. Keep it very close to it like this. You shouldn't have any issues. And we press the bind button. There you go, it's binding. And it's bound. Excellent. So now, let's turn it around and make sure the controls are okay. All right? So going right aileron, that's correct. Left aileron, that's correct. Forward, backwards, forwards, backwards. Right, left. This is great. So now, look at the, okay, we're gonna level the swash now. The way to do that is, I think you press this, in the old board, you had to press this 4 times. Press the bind button 4 times, it goes into settings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it does it. Okay, so great. So now, you could look at the swash, and using your sticks, you can correct the servos and make sure this is as level as can be. So this seems to be a little bit higher. So let's go and increase it. If I use so your aileron stick will adjust the aileron servos, and your elevator is going to adjust your elevator servo, which is the one in the back. So I'm going to do that off camera to make sure I can actually look at it and not worry about the screen, and come back. Okay, so I went ahead and made sure it's as straight as possible by adjusting these servos. It's still in the setup mode. So what you have to do now to accept it is to press the bind button one more time, and it accepts it. So now we're set. We set the swash plate. All right, and as you see, we have our light on, and this light is on. So let me see if I put in, I'm sure if I put in this light will also be on. I'll put this in the green. And yep, just put it in green, and this light is on as well. So that's perfect. So let me now just, one more thing is to check the gyro rotation for the tail. I'm taking it off of, okay, it was on idle up. Okay, so if this is on idle up, it starts rotating. Not a good thing. So now the throttle is off, throttle cut is off, and I'm on normal mode. Let me just take this out, take this wire out. Okay, now this is in normal mode. I'm going to throttle up, and as I turn the tail this way, it should push it back, meaning that means that the tail is working properly. Okay, so we're going to throttle up. Yes, see, it's pushing back. I can show you with a piece of paper. Let me just get that, just to demonstrate what I'm talking about. If I push it this way, it wants to push it back. So everything looks to be okay. So I'll put throttle cut back on. The indicator light is not on, which I don't know why. Maybe if I turn it off and back on, it'll come up. Let's do that. I'll turn it off. Turn the transmitter off. Turn the transmitter back on. Turn the helicopter back on. Okay, I saw it come on briefly. Let me just see why that is. Oh, I think one of the pins is bent. I'll fix that. That should not be a problem. Okay, it seems like either this light has gone bad, or it's not compatible with the new board. Because I checked it against, I took the light from my this one, this UHD 1D, and I never could remember the name of this helicopter. But anyways, I took that and connected it to this board, and it works. So I have a feeling you need to get a new indicator light as well when you get a board. But for now, we'll put it in. Even though it's not working, we'll just put it in for now. And so that the wire isn't hanging around. Okay, and I think that's it. That's all it takes. Everything worked properly. So now I'm going to put this back on. Connect it on here. Put the screws back on and do a test flight. Test hover. We'll do the flight tomorrow. But tonight, it's getting late here. I'm just going to do this, and then we're going to go and hover. And then after hovering, we will do a nice test flight tomorrow in the field. Just have to get this to fit properly. Okay. Nice. Four screws. That's all it took. Fantastic. If this works, this will become a full collective pitch helicopter for a mere $40. Guess the boards are kind of expensive. Probably monopoly, just like the batteries. After all, this is a business, guys and gals. They're not in here for, they have to make money. Fair money is good to make. I don't mind paying for quality and service and innovation. YuXiang has been extremely innovative, in my opinion. They came out with the amazing helicopters with direct drives, no gears. Well, the first E160 had a gear, but that one was revolutionary in its own right. It came out with a 6G, 3G, 6G concept. I'm not saying they made it, but they really made a good one. And then followed by the direct drive 180 and 150 helicopters, which I haven't seen them making them. I hope they don't stop making those. Those were nice. Okay, let's turn the helicopter off. Put the blades back on. Transmitter off. And the blades always go towards the leading edge goes where the connection is, where your connection to the swash plate is. So this blade is rotating this way. So you don't want it too tight. You want it tight enough that where you could, this is too tight. So you want to make it such that when you touch it, it moves, but not too much. It doesn't swing. This is good. A little bit tighter. This is good. I tighten it and then I loosen it until it gets to the point where that is correct. So this, see when you touch it, you see that? This is good. So let's try that same thing here. This is good. All right, let's hover. Okay, we're gonna hover, test hover. Turn on the helicopter. Before we do that, I'd like to do a gyro calibration. And the way you do that is you hold down the elevator stick for a few seconds. And then you're gonna see the light inside beep. Hold it down. See, it's blinking red. So now I'm gonna hover, and hold it still. First hover. This is not stable. We gotta land it. I'm gonna land it. I didn't like that at all. Maybe because 1,000, 1,000. Maybe because we have high rates and everything's at high. try again now. Needs to be tuned, but this is now a proper collective pitch helicopter. Our light is on, everything looks good. The head speed is higher. Great. So now it's all about tuning. So after my attempted to first hover and tuning, I noticed erratic behavior. And I went back and I thought that maybe just like my F06, the board is bad. Come to realize, when you put this on, this board needs to be screwed on so that it's nice and tight. What happened was that we didn't put the screws on. There are two screws here that tie this down so that it doesn't move. The reason I was having erratic behavior is because vibrations were moving this ever so slightly inside here, and the helicopter was reacting. So there are two tiny screws. You'll see them right here that come off of the original. This was the original. It came up from here and here. Okay, so that needs to be put back. So we're going to put it back. I'm going to use the same board because I don't think there was a problem with it. Okay, let's try again. We're going to go ahead and test hover one more time. This time I left the canopy off so you guys can see how this thing reacts. Okay, so I'm gonna redo this, make sure it sees level. As soon as you turn it on, put it on the ground so it sees. See that? It's leveling. Okay, now I'm going to calibrate the gyro. What I'd like to do is first check, let's check the rotation. Right, left, forward, backwards. That all works. And let me see the tail. Tail works too. Okay, now we're ready to do a hover and do a gyro. Well, let's first do a hover, see how it is before we do anything. So we're going to do a hover. Much better. Before, if you noticed, it was
It was moving back and forth and vibrating badly. So it's crucial to put those 2 screws in. Much more stable now. So now I'm gonna see if I let go of the controls, it's gonna go to the right. You see that? That needs to be calibrated, gyro calibration. So that's what I'm gonna do next. See if I let go of the sticks, it goes to the right. So let's land it and go through the gyro calibration. And that step is pretty simple. You hold down the elevator and notice the light there on the board, okay? I'm gonna hold down the elevator. It starts blinking. It's in calibration mode. You hover it and you hold it there where it's stable. So you hover it where you think it's stable, like there. And you land it without touching it, without touching the controls anymore. So next, you have to accept the settings. You press down again on the elevator and the button goes solid again. So let's try and hover and see if that drift is corrected. See, now the drift is corrected. You see this? Now the drift is corrected. Maybe it's doing a little bit differently. You might have to do this a couple of times so that the helicopter goes nice. Now this is flying much nicer now. Much better. So it's crucial to put those screws in. Who would have guessed? I mean, I certainly didn't. Nice. This is so much more capable than before. We're gonna do a test flight outdoors and tune it really nicely. This is great. Okay, let's do a hover. I put the canopy back on. Test the performance indoors. This is on normal. Mid stick comes up. So the pitch curve seems to be good. Beautiful. Very capable, but the battery died. So when your battery dies, this is what happens. Okay, I'm gonna put another one in. We don't have an indication anymore, so you have to put the timer and make sure that your helicopter doesn't get to this point, because at this point it will just hover down. It'll land itself. You don't want to get there. So let's put another battery and try again. Okay, put another battery in and try again. I think this should fly about 7 to 8 minutes. So set a timer for that. That's the yaw. Backwards, forwards. Beautiful. This thing is awesome. Definitely worth the mod. 40 bucks for a board. And if you want to have the signal, the status light, you need to buy the status light as well, because it doesn't, the old status light doesn't work with the new board. Let's do the pitch. Let's do the thump, see if it holds. The tail seems to hold nicely. Tail holds. Nice, nice. Beautiful. See that? What amazing controls now. Beautiful. Perfect. It is kind of windy. So much better than what it was before. I mean, this is just in 6G. Thumping up, checking the tail. Stays right there. I mean, solid. Solid. Beautiful. One more time. Nope. Very good. I mean, this is good. And this is all in normal mode. I didn't even go in. Now it's in 3D mode with a much better, I mean, more aggressive pitch curve. Alright, we're gonna land now. I have more time, but I just don't want to kill the battery. I'll have to see. We'll have to get used to how much time. I didn't put the timer on. Very nice. I recommend this mod.